Okay, so oops. So the abbreviation is object oriented programming. Okay, object oriented programming. Okay, so why we are calling this as object oriented, or what kind of how we can do the programming using OOPS, all those things we are gonna see here. Okay, so first of all, if you see we normally did all the coding, right? As sometimes we used functions as well to complete the coding, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can without functions also you can do, or with functions also you can do the programming. In the same way, here we are going to do the programming with the help of classes. Okay, however we are defining a function, and however we are writing logic inside the function, here we are going to define a class and we are going to write the logic or all the code or all the business logic we are going to write inside a class. I will tell you what is a class or what is object, everything I will explain you, okay? But the whole coding will be inside a class when it's come to OOPS concept. Not only in Python, in Java or in C++ also. If it's come to OOPS, the whole coding will be inside the class. Okay?
Okay.
If you see, this is the notes, I will share this with you. So in Python, everything is an object. I will tell you, okay, what is an object. Okay. So like for example, list we are going to consider list as an object, and tuple an object, variable an object. So everything in Python we are going to consider as an object. It's going to have some properties. Okay, it's going to have some properties. It's going to have its own behavior. It's going to have some attributes in the sense properties. Okay, it's going to have some definition. Everything Python we are going to consider as object. Okay,
Okay.
I will tell you what exactly. So once we complete the OOPS concept, you can understand everything. Okay, and if you see, to create objects, we required some model or plan or a blueprint. Okay, I will tell you. For example, you want to construct a home, right? And at that time you are going to do some planning, right? So here the kitchen will be here, and the bedroom will be here, the hall will be here, like that you are going to draw that on a chart, right?
Yes.
House look like, or how a building look like, or how your office look like. So all those you are going to draw on a chart. That's nothing but blueprint. Okay, that's nothing but blueprint. Okay, so in the same way here we are to create objects. So you can consider an example of vehicle. Okay, so vehicle is a model. Under that you are going to have different like car, two-wheeler, four-wheeler, a bus, lorry, these and all you have. But the main, they all are comes under vehicle. Okay, under vehicle you are going to have different types. Okay, so here the vehicle is a class. It's going to it will be like blueprint. It's going to define how they will be, how each vehicle should be designed. So the vehicle is a class, and the two-wheeler is an object, four-wheeler is an object, bus is an object, lorry is an object. So vehicle class going to tell how each object should be designed. Clear?
Yeah.
Now you understand what, did you understand like what is a class?
Mm.
It's nothing but blueprint. Like it's going to tell the structure of your object. For example, if you consider a list, you are going to have some predefined properties, right? Like it should be enclosed in square brackets. Each value should be separated with the comma. So such a things you have, right? So like that,
Yeah.
class is a blueprint. Using that, we can create the objects. Okay. And list is a class, so you can consider list as an object, and it's going to have some properties. In the same way, each object going to have some properties, and to create those objects we are going to use a class. Class is nothing but Blueprint. You understood what is blueprint. It's like design. How you want to create it. Okay? Clear, Deepa?
Yes, it's clear.
We can write a class to represent properties and actions of the object. I already told you, object going to have some properties and it's going to have some behavior. Okay, for example, I will consider two-wheeler. Okay, what are the attributes? It's going to have two wheels and it's going to have handle, it's going to have brake. These are all attributes. Correct? These are all the properties of two-wheeler. And the behavior is whenever the user starts, we can write it. It's going to have some behavior, right? Whenever there is fuel and whenever the user starts, it should run. This is the action. This is the behavior of the two-wheeler, right? Correct.
Yes, it is.
You're not able to understand, please let me know.
No, Manas, your voice is like up and down. That is the only problem. Once it's high, once it's low.
But I don't have any internet issue.
Not because of an internet issue. Maybe because of the voice.
Okay, let me go in some same pinch, okay? Yeah. So here I'm telling object, okay? Object going to have some properties. Okay. Like if you consider the two-wheeler, it's going to have two wheels, it's going to have the handle, it's going to have engine, it's going to has engine, and it's going to has brakes. So these are all properties of two-wheeler, right? So based on these things, we can say this is two-wheeler, correct? So based on some properties, we are going to judge, right, what kind of thing it is.
Yeah.
Based on some features or based on some properties, based on the attributes, we are going to tell this is this one, this is this one, like that. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to have some behavior. So if the user kicks it, it's going to start. This is a behavior of the object and it should have fuel. And if whenever the user kicks it, it should start. This is the behavior of the two-wheeler. That's why
Understood.
the two-wheeler is an object. It's because it has some properties and it has its own behavior. Correct? And
Yes.
here we have human properties. I already told you all these things comes under some vehicle. Apart from that, if you see, here we are going to have some blueprint. Blueprint in the sense I already told you how we design. So before designing your two-wheeler, you are going to draw a structure, right? It should have these many brakes. It should have these many. So I don't know exactly about the two-wheeler. That's why I'm not able to explain you clearly. But we are going to define, right, whatever things it should have and when it should start. And if we like now, if you see for few bikes, if you didn't remove the stand, you can't start it. That is also a behavior. All these things we are going to design, right? So that design is nothing but a class. Two-wheeler is an object and whatever you design, that is a class. Okay?
So both is represented by us,
Yeah.
including attributes and the behavior.
However you want to create, you can. For example, you have a chair, right? It should have four legs and it should be in good way to sit. So every object, everything has its own object. Sorry, everything has its own properties. Everything has
Okay,
its
so
behavior. So that is object. But the way we are designing is we are going to consider as a class, where we are going to represent the properties and the behavior of the object is nothing but a class. Okay.
understood.
Now you defined a class called vehicle. Under that, you can create any number of objects. For two-wheeler, one object. For four-wheeler, one object. For bus, one object. For lorry, one object. But we are going to have one class where we can have all the design. and you can create any number of objects based on your requirement. Clear?
Yes, Manas, that's clear.
For example, I have a class where I'm taking student name, student marks, student details. I mean, student name, student marks, student days you can consider. Okay. So you are going to define the class. Okay, for student name, student marks, and student age. So for each student, you can create an object using the same class you can create. So the structure we are defining in class, and we can create any number of objects using that class. Okay, for each student, you can create a new record using the class that you designed. Okay, I will show you with coding. I will show you how we can do. And properties, yeah, so I already told you, right, each object going to have the properties. So that properties we can consider as variables in class, and the actions can be represented by methods. Methods is nothing but a function, but when it's come to OOPS concept, we should consider that as method. Outside of the OOPS, we can call that as function, but when it's come to OOPS, you should call that as method. We are going to use same def keyword we are going to use. We are going to give the method name. We are going to give all the required parameters. All the same, but the based on place where we are using, we are going to change the name. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. And what I need to let's see how we can define a class. Okay, for defining a function, we are using def keyword, right? In the same way, to define a class, you should use the class keyword and the class name. You can give any class name. That's up to you. You can give any class name. Okay. I don't just for syntax purpose. I already told you why we are using past statement. I think you know that why we are using past statement. Yeah. Now, what is object? Physical existence of a class is nothing but object. Okay, I will tell you. Physical existence of a class is nothing but object. So, you created a class, means you created the design, but you should construct it, right? For example, you designed one design for building, and you should build it, right? The building you are going to call as object, and the design you are going to call as class. Clear? The building has some physical existence, right? That is object. And the design, whatever you draw, that is class, that is blueprint. Clear?
Understood.
Yeah. For the same design, you can build any number of buildings. Using the same design, you can build any number of buildings, right? So, in the building is an object, and you are going to use the same blueprint, that is nothing but class. Okay. And syntactically, how you can create a object here, the object name and then the class name. Okay, so S will become the object name, the student is the class name. Let's see how we can create a class and how we can do. Okay, I will now create a class. Okay, let's see how we can do. Class student. As I took one example, right? We can create a class for student name and student age. For now, better to take student name and student age. With those, I will tell you how we can do. Okay. And here, I want to pass the student name and student age, and I want to print those. Okay, I have two variables. One is student name, one is student age. I want to pass those data and I want to print. Okay. Clear?
Yes.
Now I will explain you without constructor, and next class I will explain you with help of constructor how we can do. Okay, that is very important. But for now, without constructor, let's see how we can do. Let me define a method. See, don't in OOPS, I already told you in OOPS we are going to call that as method. So same def keyword we are going to use, and this is the name I am giving for the method display, as I want to display the student name and the student age. Okay, self is an keyword in OOPS. Okay, that is used to access current objects data. Will tell you how it will work. Okay, I will explain you. Once after coding, I will explain you. Name, age. Okay, here I'm defining the method and I am passing 2. So don't consider this self. Self is a default argument for every method in OOPS. Okay, and other than self, whatever arguments you are passing, name and age. So consider those. Okay, now I just want to print name is, I want to print the student name and the student age. Okay, this is an, so whatever I'm going to give the data, I'm going to give student name and age, and it should print me in this format. Name is, age is. In this format, it should print me. Okay, so I created the class, that's fine. Now I need to create the object. Okay, so S is my object. How you can do? This is how you can create the object. And you can create any number of, for next student, I am creating, and for next student, I'm creating. So like that I created. How many objects I created? 3 objects I create. Okay. And where you are passing the data, you are passing the student name and age in display method. Okay, display method. So with the help of object, you should call that method and you should pass the parameters that you want to pass. Let's see how you can do. So you should use the object name, then dot. Okay, dot is used to indicate, like the dot is used to indicate like you are accessing the data that you have inside the class. So display, just give student name and student age. S1 dot display, save it. Now if you run, it will see. So what it will do, whenever you tell this display, you are calling with this S object, right? And this self will refer to this object first time. Okay. And here the self will refer to this S1 object. And if you do S2 dot display, the self will refer to this S2 object. So self is used to access the current object data, means current object method or current object variable. Self is used to access current object data. Okay. Okay, Deepa.
Yes, Manasa.
So what will happen? Self. So this self will indicate this yes. So this current object, and in place of name you are going to have Deepa. In place of age you are going to have 24. Okay. Let me run. You can understand. Here I gave the name. The name mistakenly. PLAY. Save it. Here you understood, I hope. If you see attribute error, when I gave DASPALY, that I don't have, I have display. DASPALY I don't have, right? So at that time you are going to get attribute error. It's telling you don't have this attribute. Did you mean this one? Same name error you saw, right? Whenever you don't have
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't define the variable, but if you are trying to access it, it's going to give you name error. In the same way, if you try to access the data which doesn't exist in the class, it's going to give you the attribute error. Okay. Now see, name is Deepa and age is 24. Next for this object, name is Raj, age is 26.
Hmm.
Like this you can do. So the self going to refer to the current object. Okay. And it will take the data. This S is the object. We can create any number of objects for the class. Any number of objects you can create. There is no limit. Okay.
Understood.
Yeah. Any doubts for now? What is class,
No.
object?